Ling Orange crossed over and was caught raping on the day of his crossing. Watching her tall and handsome husband disdain her, Ling Orange became angry. I want to become beautiful, earn money, and make you, this foolish man, look at me differently. After losing weight and exercising, Ling Orange became a first-class beauty in the family courtyard, Song Chi. Daughter-in-law, don't be angry. I'm blind. Ling Ju. Rolling calf, Song Chi said, my wife, I was really wrong. Let me go to bed. Ling Ju. Tomorrow, write a 3,000-word report on admitting mistakes and submit it. Song Chi. Obey me. As long as I get into bed, anything will do. Chapter 1. Face cannot be eaten as a meal. You are listening at novel full.audio. The people of red fruit are entangled on the bed, one black and one white. The voice of embarrassment lingers in the narrow space, as if chanting, I wonder what heaven and earth are. Ms. Ling Ju is in a mess. She thought it was too long before she could solve it on her own and just had a spring dream. This dream is too real to even believe. As soon as she opened her eyes, there was a handsome guy with furrowed brows and closed eyes under her. His arms, chest muscles, face, and he did a lot of good things himself. Grandpa Zhou even arranged a type he liked, rough and robust, handsome and sexy. Anyway, it's a dream, why not enjoy it boldly? Riding tightly on the man's waist, swaying like an unstoppable ship with his movements. Upon lightly opening Sakura's mouth, there was a shattered moan, her small face flushed, and her hair messy, which was the ultimate enjoyment. You're satisfied now. A deep and trembling voice reached my ears, undoubtedly adding fuel to this ambiguous situation. I like it. Use more force. Did you not eat? Anyway, it's a dream. So what about Meng Lang? Go with your heart. I'll kill you. The man flipped over and turned the two of them around. A rough gasp followed by a wide opening and closing, sinking and floating in the ocean. In this acre of land, whether you like it or not, it has to be decided by men. He controls, he takes the lead, doubts his abilities, just asking for trouble. But why is he so frustrated in his heart? This afternoon, I tossed and turned, sweating all over the bed, and the quilt twisted into a ball. The battle was so intense. Everything calmed down, and the man opened his eyes again. The man who was usually decisive in killing had a brief moment of confusion. Quickly getting out of bed, cleaning myself, frowning as I looked at the motionless woman on the bed. Ling Ju didn't know why her dream hadn't woken up yet, and the soreness on her body, especially in that area, was a bit frightening. Suddenly, there was a bang, bang, bang knocking on the door, and different voices gathered at the door, along with a mournful female voice. Ling Ju, you shameless person, hurry up and get out of here. With a roar like that of a lioness, Ling Ju suddenly woke up and sat up from the bed. Her head turned on like a computer, with a loud bang, many memories that didn't belong to her flooded in. Originally, in the winter of 2023, at the age of 28, she died suddenly on the subway back home due to overwork. Then, in 1980, the man in front of her was Song Chi, 26, the fiancé of her arch-rival Xing Pingping, who was a comrade in arms of her brother Ling Yong and the commander of the independent 1st Battalion. And she is only 19 years old this year, 2 months after graduating from high school, and came to visit her brother in the military. Her parents were veterans, but they were not greedy for fame and fortune and did not want to live a life of intrigue. They withdrew their military uniforms and returned to their hometown to become farmers. 3 hours ago, she did something earth-shattering. During Xing Pingping's absence, she slept with her fiancé. I also wrote a note to Xing Pingping, asking her to personally come and catch the traitor. More precisely, it strengthened her fiancé. How can women become stronger than men? It's very simple. Firstly, you need to have an older brother who has a tall and handsome comrade in arms. Take advantage of his drunkenness while eating to strengthen him. How can a woman without the strength to bind a chicken implement it? Ling Ju smiled. She was born with greater strength, and with the addition of something to the wine Song Qi drank, she succeeded. As a notorious female shrew in the courtyard, what about being a strong man? And now, Zheng Pingping has come knocking on her door. In my mind, I sighed at the original owner's bloody operation, but I had to accept reality. I immediately got up and put on my clothes, looking like there was a tough battle to be fought. What are all these things? The door was kicked open outside, and a windy woman and other cheering people rushed in. Their face hurt and they were slapped. Ling Ju, you're really shameless. You're a fat pig, you seduced my man and I'm going to kill you today. The woman who spoke was slender, weak, with both aggrieved and angry eyes, but her words became more and more unpleasant. It's none of her business to be angry, she just crossed over to this body, but her soul is different. What do you want to do with your face? Are you eating as a meal? She covered her face and shouted, feeling aggrieved. I don't know who in the crowd is saying, ugly and chubby, you don't have the face to seduce men. You're such a slutty guy. Even if you seduce men, they don't look in the mirror to see what kind of virtue they have. Someone else is agreeing. Ling Ju glanced at her and saw that she was a girl wearing glasses, the same type as Zheng Pingping, probably named Su Yan. Stop making noise. Everyone looked at the man standing on the side, wearing a green shirt and military pants, but the buttons on the shirt were all tied incorrectly and the clothes were wrinkled. His face was as black as a black pot, and he didn't have to say anything. Everyone knew what had happened, and the room smelled of lasciviousness. Song Chiga, me. Zheng Pingping wiped away her tears and looked at the man with a deflated mouth. I will marry Ling Ju. That's all for this matter. After the man finished speaking, Zheng Pingping cried even harder, out of breath, and Ling Ju felt a little relieved to see her. This woman appears to be a good person, but in reality, she bullies Ling Orange behind her back. Ling Ju was originally an honest person, but after graduating from high school, she came to visit her brother in the army. After coming, she was mocked by Zheng Pingping because of her poor skin and a bit overweight. Later, the original owner couldn't bear to argue with Zheng Pingping. Zheng Pingping took the opportunity to spread rumors that Ling Ju was bullying and insulting her, which is why the reputation of Ling Ju as a shrew spread like this. Since then, Ling Ju doesn't like to go out and stay in the dormitory every day. If her brother hadn't asked her to stay, she would have gone back to her hometown. Ling Ju really doesn't know where she's getting in Zheng Pingping's way, making things difficult for her everywhere. What happened? A thick male voice came from the crowd, and a serious man in his 40s walked in. Ling Ju looked up and saw that it was Captain Li Jigang. Captain, why did you come? Song Qi immediately stood up when he saw the person coming. Li Jigang looked at the people in the room and then dismissed them, leaving only Ling Ju, Song Qi, and Zheng Pingping behind. Your sister Law said something seems to have happened, let me take a look. In fact, Li Jigang heard his wife Hong Ying say that Zheng Pingping had brought a group of people to catch adultery at Song Qi's doorstep. Li Jigang had just arrived, and he also had a headache. This is a matter of style. Captain, you have to make the decision for me. This shameless Ling Ju, she seduced my man, and... After a while, I didn't know how to say the fact that the two people opposite had already formed a couple. Ling Ju rolled her eyes and harbored resentment in her heart. It was not seduction, it was strength. Song Qi, what's going on? Captain, I will marry Ling Ju. He even slept with me, what if I don't marry him? Zheng Pingping's face turned blue with anger, and she grabbed her clothes fiercely with both hands. Looking at the red and blue marks on Song Qi's neck, as well as the marks on Ling Ju's body, she wished she could tear Ling Ju apart. Song Qi, what are you talking about? If you marry Ling Ju, what am I? Zheng Pingping ignored the image of a lady she had created and shouted. Ling Ju only felt that at this moment, her mind was buzzing like 1,000 ducks barking in her ear. Ling Ju remained silent while watching the play, and even Captain Li remained silent. Watching Song Chi stand expressionless, Ling Ju had no confidence in her heart. I have made up my mind. Zheng Pingping was not speaking and cursed Ling Ju dirtily, but was forced by Captain Li to take her out and calm down. Later, Li Jigang also called Song Chi away. Coming out of Song Chi's dormitory and walking towards Ling Yong's dormitory, everyone along the way paid attention to her, occasionally whispering and accelerating their pace. Just arrived home, Ling Yong was not there and returned to his own room. As soon as she opened the door and saw the face in the mirror, Ling Orange was completely speechless. A face full of red bumps and a body weighing about 170 to 80 pounds. At a height of about 1.65 meters, my eyes are quite big, but the red bumps on my face are really scary. Lying in his own bed, contemplating life, he found that Ling Ju's dietary habits were okay, but he really didn't love hygiene. The clothes smelled a bit. The bumps are either caused by physical reasons or lack of hygiene. Thinking of this, I immediately went to the cabinet and found a clean home outfit, ready to go out and take a shower. But my stomach started growling, so hungry. But for this figure, we can only eat low-fat meals. I searched around in the kitchen and found that there was nothing to eat. I usually eat in the cafeteria and don't open fire at home. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I finally decided not to eat tonight and went to take a shower directly. Anyway, there's a bunch of mess, let's just do it. Drop it whatever you want. There is no bathroom in the dormitory, so I can only go to the public bathtub at the head of the building. After tidying up the dishes, I found that there was only soap, towels, and the simplest shampoo. The towels were black like rags, and I felt extremely disgusted, so I had to make do with them first. Fortunately, there was no one in the bathtub, and there were also a few small compartments with partitions. When I went in, I took off my clothes and looked at the fat on my stomach. My thick legs frowned. But the skin is still quite white, which can be considered a comfort. Turn on the switch, hot water drips down from the head, washing hair and wiping body. The water falling from the body is black, and the water used for washing hair is also black. Like mud and water, I washed my long hair 3 times before getting it clean. It feels much easier to clean my head. I cursed my mother 180 times in my heart, and then washed the towel that looked like a rag several times with soap, only to find out that it was actually a pink towel. After taking a hot bath, I felt so comfortable that I couldn't help but marvel. I washed my dirty clothes with water, and after washing them, I sweated profusely and gasped for breath. I washed my body again. Put on clean clothes, wrap your hair in a towel, open the compartment door inside and outside to see no one around, and tiptoe back. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Ling Yong sitting inside with an angry expression on his face. Ling Ju's hand holding the basin almost trembled. When Ling Yong heard about his sister's foolish behavior, he initially didn't believe it at all. However, the team leader found him and looked at Song Chi's face and the marks on his neck, only then did he realize it was true. After returning home, I found that the girl was not around and was thinking of going out to find someone. Unexpectedly, she came back, carrying a basin and changing into clean clothes. It seemed like she had gone to take a shower. A bit shocked, his sister really doesn't like cleanliness. Her clothes and bed sheets are all black. Ling Ju, you are really my good girl. Ling Ju looked dumbfounded at Ling Yong's gloomy face and said, well, brother, don't get angry. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Ling Yong, who was about to tug at his ears as he walked over, instinctively began to dodge Ling Ju's body. However, he couldn't avoid his tall and strong brother. After 2 hours of ideological education, Ling Ju went from being nervous at the beginning to almost falling asleep now. Orange, your marriage certificate will come down soon. Ah. Why don't you want to marry Song Chi? Can we say it's all accidents? Don't we have to take responsibility? Looking at her brother's murderous gaze, Ling Orange dared not say a word. No. It's not that. It's just, sigh. It's better to divorce again if you can't make it through. It's not advisable to have a straight face. I went back to the room hungry and found that my hair was dry. After changing the clean sheets and lying on the bed, perhaps due to the exhaustion caused by too much information, Ling Ju slept until dawn. Turning over on the small bed, the loud wake-up call sounded. Chapter 2. The Hong Marriage Certificate. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. I can't sleep anymore, my stomach is too hungry. After flipping left and right in the cabinet, I finally found 2 yuan and remembered that there was a county town 7 kilometers away from here, so I decided to go out. After washing slowly, Ling Yong was found to have returned from the drill, and he brought her a breakfast, millet congee, pickles, corn flour cake. Without time to be reserved, Ling Yong sucked in 3 mouthfuls and 2 mouthfuls crazily. Looking at the girl in front of him, who had no image of a lady, Ling Yong felt black lines all over his head. Here's 20 yuan for you, go buy something by yourself. I don't even have decent clothes. Looking at the 2 10-yuan bills on the table, Ling Orange's eyes suddenly lit up. Thank you, brother. You are really my own brother. Listening to Ling Ju's admiration, Ling Yong felt a bit strange. Ling Ju usually doesn't speak like that. Just consider it as getting married and happy soon. Then he dressed neatly and went to work. After finishing the meal, Ling Ju took a cloth pocket and prepared to go to the county town. I didn't expect to meet the wife of Captain Li, Hongying, as soon as I left. Sister Hongying, she politely greeted and walked over with a smile on her face. Comrade Shaoling, are you going out? Yes, I'm planning to go to the county town for a walk. There are many daily necessities and nothing to eat at home. Shaoling, if you want to eat, you don't need to go out and buy groceries and grains. Our team has grown 10 acres of land ourselves. If you want to eat, you can participate in labor, and you can share some vegetables and so on. Really? Farming cannot be learned. If you want to go, you can come to my house to find me, and I'll take you there. Hongying is worried that no one is willing to go because there aren't many dishes to share. She usually goes more with the political commissar's wife Lu Lin because she wants to take the lead. Others either take care of their children or have to work, so they really don't have much time. Sister-in-law, I'm planning to go to the county to buy some daily necessities. I'm not sure if I can come back early this afternoon. I'll go see you tomorrow. Okay, no problem. Farewell to Hongying and head towards the county town. It's a 7-kilometer journey, but due to being too fat, we have to stop and walk for a whole 2 hours before we arrive. It feels like our legs are no longer our own. It would be great if we had a bicycle. Ling Orange exclaimed that in the 1980s, the streets were full of bicycles and donkey carts, with very few cars. With a sudden impact of the times, they emerged. After circling around, I found that there were mostly small stalls selling self-produced vegetables and fruits, as well as side dishes. I also bought some daily necessities such as toothpaste, toothbrushes, and soap in the store, as well as a pack of milk sugar and 2 kilograms of millet. Seeing the pharmacy on the street, I went in and asked if there was any medicine that could treat my face. An old doctor gave me a pulse signal, which was hot on the top and cold on the bottom, and my menstrual cycle was irregular. Then I prescribed 2 weeks of traditional Chinese medicine conditioning. If it works, take a few pills after taking them. When leaving, I found a weight scale in the pharmacy and secretly went up to weigh 175 pounds. The weight that one could not reach in their previous life. I bought a new towel, a pure white tank top, 2 large shorts, and 2 pairs of socks. The money given by Ling Yong has 3 yuan left. I was about to buy something to eat for lunch when I saw someone shouting something with a big loudspeaker in a 3-story building ahead. I walked over and found out that I was recruiting workers. It turned out to be a textile factory recruiting workers, with big character posters stating job requirements, positions, salary ranges, and even recruiting people who can speak foreign languages. I saw a handsome man wearing a suit and short-sleeved pants shouting loudly, "Hello everyone, our Star Textile Factory is recruiting from the society. Please see our recruitment notice for financial accountants, textile workers, chefs, security guards, and sales." "Big brother, what is sales?" asked the big sister in the crowd. "Big sister, I just understand some documents, contracts, can sell things, and have a better eloquence." "Then my eloquence is not good, I can work as a worker. We are recruiting many positions and a large number of people. Interested big brothers, sisters, uncles, and aunts can queue up on the right to fill out the form. Ling Ju feels that this opportunity cannot be missed. She is capable of this job and also knows English. Ah, big brother, can you tell me how to speak English?" Sales. Ling Ju worked in a foreign company in her previous life as an internal staff member in the sales position. "Sure, girl, would it be convenient for you to come upstairs for an interview?" "What time?" "Just upstairs, you can fill out a form with me first and let's do a simple test. Don't worry, we are a legitimate textile factory. My name is Hu Wei, 27 years old, and I am the recruitment manager of Xingxing Textile Factory. What about you, age?" "My name is Ling Ju. I can be Ling Ju, the top Ling, and the most orange in my life. I am 19 years old." Hu Wei led Ling Ju to the office upstairs and poured a cup of tea. Then I gave her a table, which was a simplified version of my resume, requiring her to include her name, gender, ethnicity, education, family address, and phone number. "Brother Hu, I don't have a phone at home. I live in the military's family home. Can I write the family home phone number?" "So it's a military subordinate, you can write it, it's okay. Fill in the information neatly," and Hu Wei took out a test question. Seeing the above question, it's too simple. The first question requires writing an English self-introduction of no less than 50 words. The second question is to translate 10 vocabulary words from English to Chinese. After finishing writing brush by brush, I looked up and found Hu Wei looking at me with a certain expression in his eyes. "You really know English?" "Ah, otherwise, I won't be able to come either, haha." Miss Ling Ju didn't expect her appearance to be unremarkable. She writes English words well, and this fluent font seems to be a sign of frequent practice. It's okay too. Have we also established diplomatic relations with M country? I think learning a language can always be useful, so I can self-study at home without any worries. The two of them chatted for a while, and Ling Ju finally found out that the Star Textile Factory had some connections with them. She knew that there would be a lot of opportunities after the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and M, and perhaps they could export their products overseas. Therefore, she wanted to recruit 2 sales personnel who can speak foreign languages to train in case of any unexpected needs. "Ling Ju, I don't think you have any problems. If possible, you can report to this address in 3 days. I'll take care of it for you, and your salary will be 25 yuan per month for a 3-month probationary period. After the probationary period, your salary will be 30 yuan. Brother Hu, do you care about food and accommodation? For those who have dormitories, meals are free, and if they stay, they will deduct 2 yuan per month." Ling Ju was extremely excited, nodded repeatedly, put away the address, and bid farewell to Hu Wei. I went to the market again and bought a potato pancake for lunch, but it only cost 5 cents each. I sighed at the current prices and purchasing power, and walked home after finishing. Halfway through the journey, it was hot and tiring. Sitting on the stone under the poplar tree by the roadside, resting, several military trucks and jeeps passed by. Unexpectedly, a car stopped in front of me, stroking my braids and looking at the face peeking out of the car window. "Orange, why did you go?" "I went to the market and bought some daily necessities," said Ling Yong as the passenger window pulled down. "Come on up, take you back. Oh, good, just as I opened the car door and was about to get in, I found that the person in the driver's cab was actually Song Chi. Ling Ju closed the car door directly. Awkward. Brother, you go first. I'll take a stroll for a while, you guys go. Are you sure? Looking at the cloth pocket in Ling Orange's hand, there should be a lot of things inside. Well, I'm sure, you go quickly, I'll walk and lose weight. Okay, then I'll go. Ling Yong estimated that seeing Song Chi embarrassed, he didn't insist anymore. The jeep restarted, and Ling Ju breathed a sigh of relief. Mom, it's too scary. Song Chi's face is too handsome and manly. Ling Yong looks not bad, but why does Song Chi look even better? Looking at that face reminds me of that afternoon's confusion and infatuation. No, no, no. Touch your own little heart and continue on your journey. As soon as I entered the family courtyard, there were 4 or 5 women under the big tree, one of whom was Hongying. Her heart and liver trembled, and she walked over with a hard face. Oh, look who this is. Who can there be? Ha ha ha. A few women mocked Ling Ju word by word, knowing that they all believed Xing Pingping's words and had always been unfriendly to her. Wang Wei and Wang Lu, you two should say a few words less. Hongying advised that from now on, we will all be military dependents and not make our relationship so strained. Wang Wei and Wang Lu stopped talking and teased their own children. Looking at Hongying speaking to herself, Ling Ju greeted her and glanced at the other two before returning home. Take the purchased underwear out and wash it clean, take it back to the room to air, and clean up the interior and exterior of the house. The hot sweat of summer flowed down my neck. I took a basin and went out to take a shower. After washing it clean, I came back feeling hydrated, and the bumps on my face didn't turn as red. Regarding the red bumps on her face, in addition to menstrual disorders and other physical reasons, Ling Ju knows that the original owner's lack of hygiene is also related, so she should wash her face well with soap when taking a shower. Looking at the milk candy on the table, I remember that Hongying had always had a good attitude towards her and even talked to her. It seemed that there was a 4 or 5-year-old girl in his family who took out half of the milk candy and put it in her pocket, and went to Hongying's house. Hongying didn't expect Ling Ju to knock on her door, but she warmly welcomed her in. Ling Ju didn't say anything, just explained his purpose, and then took out a large handful of milk candy from his pocket. Sister-in-law, thank you. I don't have anything good either. I went out today and bought some milk candy to give to my child. Oh, Comrade Xiaoling is too polite. Milk candy is not cheap. How embarrassed I am about you. Ling Orange shook her head and said, Sister-in-law, your attitude towards me has always been very good. Thank you. You can call me Ling Ju or Orange in the future. Hongying did not refuse either. She looked at the little woman in front of her who had restrained her sharpness, and remembered seeing Xing Pingping secretly bullying Ling Orange before. Nir, come and thank Aunt Ling for bringing you milk candy. Ting Ting, a girl with 2 small braids, ran over and politely said thank you to Ling Ju. Ling Ju's heart melted in an instant. This little girl is also so cute. Sister-in-law, I happened to come across a job at a textile factory today. I found a job. If it's convenient, I'll come find you to work in the field again. Sure. Xiaoling is pretty good. What is she doing in the factory? Just an ordinary worker. I've been thinking about graduating from high school for quite some time, finding a job to earn some money to support myself. Hongying nodded repeatedly and said, it's okay, just tell me if you want to go, anytime. Okay, sister.in.law, then I won't disturb you. Ling Ju had just left when Li Jigang went home. Looking at the milk candy on the table, he thought it was bought by Hongying. Hongying, did you buy sugar for your child today? No, it was Ling Ju who came to deliver it. Then he said about what happened today. Li Jigang thought about his first impression of Ling Ju, a little girl who was not talkative, a bit introverted, and a bit messy. He didn't seem like a troublemaker, but he was the only one who did something big. Lao Li, there's something I can tell you. Just a few days after Ling Ju arrived at the courtyard, she was eating in the cafeteria when I saw Jing Pingping scolding her. At that time, Ling Ju left without saying a word. Zheng Pingping and Su Yan were still mocking Ling Ju from behind, saying that Ling Ju was shabby and dirty, and that she was too embarrassed to come to the army to visit relatives. Later on, one time I chatted with Lu Lin from Wang Junwei's house, and Lu Lin also said that she had seen Zheng Pingping bully Ling Ju. That time, Ling Ju and she started arguing, but Zheng Pingping had Su Yan's help, and Ling Ju never argued. You said Ling Orange did such a thing behind her, and I feel like she was being bullied and retaliated against Zheng Pingping. The whole courtyard knows that Zheng Pingping likes Song Qi, and that Tian Gu is older and shorter. Li Jigang glanced at his wife and realized that she couldn't lie after so many years of marriage. It's also impossible to speak for someone just because they brought some milk candy. It seems that some things may not be what we think. Yeah, there's a lot of gossip in the courtyard now. When Zheng Pingping goes out and sees someone, she wants to say a few bad things about Ling Ju. Song Qi has already submitted his marriage report today, and his marriage certificate will be issued soon. I actually think that Ling Ju's marriage to Captain Song is not necessarily a bad thing. As a soldier, one must take responsibility. Ling Ju has decided not to have dinner anymore, in order to lose weight. Boiled a pot of hot water and brewed jasmine tea, and drank it to satisfy hunger. I walked over 10 kilometers this day, and both legs were trembling. I don't know when Ling Yong came back, but Ling Ju fell asleep again until dawn. The wake-up call rang, and his legs were sore and painful. He massaged himself for a while before getting up. Looking at my face in the mirror, big and round, I got up and boiled some Chinese medicine. While taking medicine, Ling Yong returned with a breakfast. Why do oranges have such a strong medicinal taste? Yesterday, I went to the pharmacy to have my pulse checked and saw what was wrong with my face. The doctor prescribed some medicine for me to take and see. Okay, I'll have breakfast for you. I'm going to work now. Eating breakfast, Ling Ju felt that Ling Yong was really good. He brought food and paid money every day. In my previous life, I was an only child and had never experienced the life of having siblings, but I realized that having an older brother was not bad either. After finishing breakfast and drinking bitter Chinese medicine, I was bored and lost in thought. Why not go find Hongying to plant vegetables today? When she arrived at Hongying's house, Hongying was about to leave with her child and happened to be in a hurry. Sister-in-law, I don't have any tools. It's okay, there's everything over there. Let's go get one. Upon reaching the edge of the ground, Ling Ju finally realized that 10 acres of land were so big. Although 10 acres of land seem very large, there are still many people in our group, and we don't have enough to eat. Hongying could tell her confusion. June is the hot season, and there aren't many people in the field. When I inquire, it's usually the kitchen staff in charge, and the military dependents are helping out as much as they can. This season is about planting fast-growing onions, coriander, chives, and other crops that have a long growth period. Today's task is to uproot wild grass. This acre of land is planted with small cabbage, which is green and lush. It's a bit difficult for a chubby person weighing 170 or 80 pounds to squat and weed on the big sun, and it's also hot. However, Ling Ju made up her mind that doing some farm work can help her lose weight, and sweating more can help her lose weight faster. In the morning, I worked with Hongying on more than half an acre of land, which surprised Hongying. I didn't expect Ling Ju to work quite skillfully. Adults work while Tingting plays, pulling 2 wild grasses and chasing butterflies. She talks in childlike language and is extremely happy, making Ling Orange feel less tired. At noon break, I didn't expect to dry half an acre of land and give a big bag of purslane and bok choy. Purslane is a wild vegetable, it's a pity to throw it away. Ling Ju loves to eat porcelain very much, and this dish can help reduce heat. It is especially good to eat in summer and also beneficial for her skin. I went to the convenience store to buy soy sauce, vinegar, and sesame oil, and borrowed 2 cloves of garlic from Hongying. I went back and washed the porcelain, stir-fried it in water, and mixed it with cold water. Eat it well. The leftover corn flour pancakes this morning make me feel that this meal is very healthy. Fat people just sweat a lot, and the weather is still hot. A wet towel keeps wiping their bodies. After finishing his meal, he had just finished packing and was drinking tea when Ling Yong returned, followed by Song Chi with an expressionless face. "Brother, how did you come back?" Ling Yong remained silent, and Song Chi took out 2 red notebooks from his pocket and handed them to Ling Orange. After reading the 3 big characters on the marriage certificate in the red notebook, Ling Ju twitched her lips. "Is this efficiency so fast? Today, you can move to Song Chi's house." "Ah. I don't want to move." Ling Yong rolled his eyes and said, "Which girl got married and still lives separately from a man with her brother? Hurry up and pack up. We'll move for you now. We'll go out a few days later, otherwise you'll have to move on your own." Reluctantly nodding, the 2 men took action. There aren't many things. Ling Ju packed her clothes by herself, and the rest of the more important ones were moved by Ling Yong and Song Chi. Watching the muscle lines of Song Chi as he lifted things and exerted his strength, his face involuntarily turned red. "Just move it, no big deal not sleeping on the same bed. It's really not possible, we'll go get divorced in a while. Anyway, if you find a job yourself, you can live in a dormitory." The 2 men moved 3 times and 5 times, and it was still Song Chi's single dormitory. Ling Yong combined the 2 single beds together. "Never mind, let's separate the bed when my brother leaves. She doesn't want to sleep in the same bed as Song Chi for now, it's scary." Looking at the traditional Chinese medicine bag held in Ling Ju's hand, Song Chi couldn't help but wonder, "Are you sick?" "Well, take some medicine to adjust." Later, no one paid attention to anyone and stood at the door unsure of what to do. Song Chi was packing his luggage, and Ling Yong went back to pack his luggage. Watching Song Chi pack his luggage with his head down, he didn't know what to say. After thinking for a moment, "Song Chi, if you're not willing, let's wait for a while before getting divorced. That day was my fault, and I apologize to you." Song Chi still didn't speak. Song Chi has left. Together, they turned a deaf ear to her. Looking at this familiar yet unfamiliar room, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. Separate the 2 double beds that were pieced together, one on the left and the other on the right, and Ling Orange lay on her own bed, taking it easy. Chapter 3. Laxatives and Mice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Song Chi left, and Ling Ju didn't feel any discomfort living alone in the empty room, just like in Ling Yong's room. "I didn't expect to get married at the age of 19 in this lifetime, and it's still such a ridiculous marriage." On the first day of marriage, the groom went on a business trip. I didn't even say a few words. Song Chi is not talkative and a bit unwilling to talk to her. She felt in her heart that after all, no one could have a good face for stirring up their relationship, and it was unexpected that Song Chi did not get angry. In the afternoon, I followed Hongying and worked on half an acre of land. My waist was exhausted, so I went home to wash and lay in bed. But I found something on Song Chi's desk shining brightly in the almost setting sun. My eyes looked at something on Song Chi's desk, and I went over to look at a small desk lamp, a notebook, and an old pocket watch on it. The one reflecting light is an old pocket watch. Picking up the pocket watch and examining it, a strange feeling suddenly came to her mind. This pocket watch seemed to have some kind of magic for her, and she didn't want to put it down when she held it, but it was just a broken pocket watch. A hint of cool air entered Ling Ju's body along the pocket watch, and she felt as if all the exhaustion had dissipated, feeling incredibly comfortable. Oh my goodness, she doesn't have any abilities, does she? I kept caressing the pocket watch with my hands, and a strange feeling came to my mind that it was the watch that recognized her as the master. The pocket watch told her that she is its owner. Ling Orange was completely shocked, unable to regain consciousness while holding the pocket watch. What the hell is going on? She has a superpower. I just feel incredibly comfortable at this moment. All the heat and excitement from working all day have dissipated, and the hunger has also disappeared. It's amazing. But this is Song Chi's thing. Put the pocket watch back in its original position, lie on the bed, and fall asleep unconsciously. The next morning, Ling Ju woke up on time and decided to go to the cafeteria for breakfast after washing up. I chose a place, made a bowl of millet porridge, boiled eggs and pickles, and just sat down. I felt like going to the toilet. After hurriedly using the restroom and returning, I saw Ping's resentful gaze not far from diagonally opposite, but 2 seconds later it turned into a smile that looked malicious. Ling Ju decides to eat and evacuate. Alas, today's congee tastes strange. After finishing the medicine at home, I went to find Hongying. Today, I also went with Wang Junwei's wife Lu Lin. I don't need to go down to the ground today. I was taken to the cooking class to help fix the potatoes behind me. In theory, the team leader and the political commissar's wife don't need to do these things at all, but they told her that they just feel like staying idle and it's better to have some work to do. 3 people were sitting repairing potatoes when Ling Ju suddenly felt a slight pain in her stomach. At first, she started thrusting, not frequently, but later the pain became more and more intense, and cold sweat oozed from her forehead. My stomach is hurting again and I want to go to the restroom. Sister-in-law, where is the restroom? My stomach suddenly hurts a bit. Just leave this door and you'll see. Go ahead. Ling Ju put down the potatoes and ran quickly to the restroom. As soon as she took off her pants, she felt like the car couldn't stop and ran away. After squatting for a while, I washed my hands again and went to fix the potatoes. Unexpectedly, after sitting down for less than 5 minutes, I had severe abdominal pain and ran to the restroom. After running back and forth 7 or 8 times for an hour, everyone was almost exhausted and sweat was oozing from their forehead. Hongying also noticed something was wrong and said, "Did Miss Orange eat something bad?" "I didn't eat it last night. I ate it in the cafeteria in the morning, so I shouldn't be able to. It's possible that the Chinese medicine I took helped me clear the garbage." "Are you taking medicine recently? Are you feeling unwell?" Lu Lin asked. "This is not the total amount of things on my face, combined with irregular menstruation. Last time I went to the county town, I prescribed a pair of traditional Chinese medicine. If Miss Ling is not feeling well, let's go back first. I can stay with Sister Hongying here." Hongying also agreed, "Okay, I'll go back first, Sister.in.law." On the way back to the dormitory, I met Ping again. With a malicious expression on his face, he walked over and said, "Feel comfortable, fat pig. Sister can help you lose weight." Ling Ju suddenly became angry and said, "All right Ping, you dare to give me laxatives. How about laxatives? Why don't you give my man a seductive potion? As long as you don't leave Song Chi for a day, I'll target you for a day. I'll tell you, the fat pig, Song Chi is mine." After speaking, the cow left in a coaxing manner. Ling Ju looked at Ping's back. It was great. She didn't want to cause trouble, you brought it on yourself. Returning to the dormitory, I unconsciously remembered the pocket watch again. I held it in my hand, and energy gradually entered my body. Suddenly, I felt much more comfortable in my body, and my stomach didn't hurt much anymore. Is this pocket watch responsible for treating illnesses? Auxiliary medical care. I didn't go to the canteen to eat at noon. I made some congee and fried a cabbage. After taking a nap in the afternoon, I found that it was already dark. Ping, you are finished. I took a burlap bag to the pigsty and prepared to shovel a few pieces of pig droppings and throw them at Ping's doorstep. However, I found a huge mouse nearby, caught in a rat trap. After a while of psychological training, I endured nausea and fear and tightly wrapped the mouse in the bag. Ping does not live in the family courtyard, but in the dormitory next to the cafeteria, a row of bungalows. After tiptoeing to Ping's window, she had already gone to sleep under the black light. Gently push open the window and vaguely see someone lying on the bed inside. Put the mouse in your hand into the window, close it tightly, and then move back. Found a hidden place to listen to the sound. Within 5 minutes, Ping's loud screams were heard, followed by several households turning on their lights. Ling Ju quickly fled the scene without anyone noticing. Returning home and lying in bed, I had a beautiful sleep. I woke up in the morning and went to the cafeteria to have breakfast. I saw Ping wearing 2 big black circles under her eyes, which made me very happy. Humming a tune and finishing dinner, secretly enjoying the meal while eating. Watching Ping and several little sisters coming up angrily, and the Su Yan, he shouted, "Dead fat pig, did you do what happened last night? What's going on? Pretend to be deaf and mute. Did you put the big mouse in my room?" A mouse. I was out of breath at home yesterday, so I didn't have the time to release a mouse for you. Admitting it is impossible, nausea must disgust you. You'd better be, otherwise when Song Chiga comes back, I'll tell him what you did. Looking at Ping's angry, twisted face with big black circles under her eyes, Ling Ju's heart was filled with joy. Whatever you want. Anyway, I didn't take this marriage seriously. It doesn't matter, it's just a matter of getting divorced. You dead fat pig, you must die easily. Bounce. Ping and Su Yan were stunned and rebounded. After the rebound, Ms. Ling came out of the cafeteria. People, sometimes the higher their expectations, the higher their disappointment. Without expectations, they live a happier life. Ling Ju went to the field again today. When she arrived, Hongying and Lu Lin had already arrived. She greeted her 2 sisters.in-law and took out 4 pieces of milk candy from her pocket to give each of them a piece, and another piece to Ting. The 4 of them were eating milk candy while working. Today's task was also simple, helping the kitchen choose dishes. A basket of cabbage, a basket of scallions, a basket of chives, and 3 baskets of beans. Ling Ju estimated that 1 basket would weigh dozens of pounds. The 3 of them worked very quickly and finished in no time. When leaving, 1 person took 2 pounds of beans, Ling Ju only took a little, and the rest was given to the 2 sisters.in-law. She is going to the factory to report tomorrow. I can't eat it at home anymore. Returning home, I casually took a bite of lunch, brewed a large pot of tea, tidied up what I had to bring, and then began studying the pocket watch. I really want to take this away, but it's not hers. I don't know if it's an illusion, but it feels like this pocket watch is a bit new. Song Chi left in a hurry and didn't have time to ask what he was doing. When will he be back? Walking to and from work every day. Just treat it as weight loss. Wait until Ling Yong and Song Chi come back to discuss living in the dormitory. After a few days, I feel like I have lost weight and my skin has also improved a bit, perhaps due to the effect of medication. A good night's dream. I packed my things early and set off. After working for a few days, I felt my physical strength improve and I no longer panted when walking. When I reached the Star Textile Factory, it took me 1 hour and 45 minutes. After logging in from the gatekeeper at the door, I waited for Hu Wei to come down and pick me up. I gave the gatekeeper 2 pieces of milk candy, and the gatekeeper laughed happily. Ling Ju suddenly felt like she had to buy 2 boxes of cigarettes to pack, so handing them over was better than milk candy when something happened. While chatting with the security guard, I observed the structure of the Star Textile Factory. The factory and office buildings were all very new. In front of the entrance was a 4-story office building, and behind it were 2 large factories. Occasionally, trucks would pull goods out, indicating that the business was still good. Ling Ju, you're here. Brother Hu, I'm not late, am I? No, come with me. Let's go through the onboarding procedures first. Hu Wei introduced himself while leading the way. This is our office building, and all the offices are here. Your future office is next to mine, all on the 2nd floor. The back 2 buildings are factory buildings, and the cafeteria and dormitory are on the west side of the first factory building. They are all new buildings. I will show you around later. As soon as I entered the office building, 2 large pots of water lilies guarded both sides of the corridor, and some slogans were written on the walls of the stairs. I followed the stairs up to the 2nd floor and first went to Hu Wei's office. Hu Wei poured 2 glasses of water, and Ling Ju sat on one side of the sofa. Ling Ju, please take a look at the contract first. It contains some basic information about work. If there are no issues, you can sign it, and our labor procedures will take effect today. Taking a look at the contract, both parties have basic information, as well as some breach of contract and confidentiality clauses. This contract is well done. Zai carefully checked and there were no problems. Ling Orange signed her name. Okay, I'll take you to visit your office. Since you're the only one in your department now, you can enjoy a separate office. Next to Hu Wei's office was Ling Ju's office. Ling Ju was a bit surprised by the decoration. There were desks and chairs, a hot water kettle, a tea tray, a company seal, as well as a basin and towel, and a set of combination sofas. Brother Hu, you're not mistaken. Do I sit in such a good office? Looking at Ling Ju's incredulous expression, Hu Wei smiled and said, yes, for now, it's just you. If we add more employees in the future, there may be someone else with you. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I worked in Kyoto for 7 or 8 years in my previous life and didn't have an independent office. I didn't expect to have one in the 1980s, and Ling Ju wanted to scream in the sky. It turns out that employees of startups are so happy. Okay, you can sit here and familiarize yourself. I need to go to the door to pick up a few workers. I'll take you to the cafeteria for lunch and also familiarize you with the environment. Chapter 4. Greedy and Flowing Hazi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Okay, you keep busy first, I'll wait for you. At noon, Ling Ju followed Hu Wei to the cafeteria for a meal, and Hu Wei also brought a few new employees from the workshop together. The canteen is not very large. Every day, 6 dishes are served at noon and evening in large pots. The staple food is corn flour mantou, corn, sorghum rice, and 2 mixed rice, which looks good. After finishing dinner, I went to the workshop again. Ling Ju understood why Hu Wei said the boss had some connections when applying for the job. With this workshop setup, each machine is of great value. At a glance, the entire workshop is filled with sewing machines, and the workers are working in their own positions, very orderly and quiet. It has to be said that the boss should be very good at management. And he is very wealthy. Hu Wei also introduced to Ling Ju the main products currently produced by the textile factory, including materials for clothing, home furnishings, and some peripheral enterprises, as well as cotton textiles that can be reprocessed. Moreover, the craftsmanship of the stars is the latest on the market, and the design is also specially commissioned, with good quality and high price. Although it has just opened, it is slowly getting back on track. Once the domestic market is opened, it may not be long before it can be exported. At the beginning of your job, focus on customers from the south. Okay, no problem, just explain it to me. After visiting the workshop and returning to the office, Hu Wei gave Ling Orange a set of materials. These are the details and parameters of our products. You need to be very familiar with them because sometimes customers come to visit, and your position is like half a salesperson. You need to introduce yourself to customers at any time. No problem. But brother Hu, you're still in charge of sales. Ling Orange was very confident. Isn't the factory just starting now? It will be better in the future. For a few hours in the afternoon, I took notes on the main production materials, cycles, and sales areas in the factory. Unconsciously, it was time to finish work. Hu Wei randomly asked a few questions, and Ling Ju answered them all. Hu Wei was quite happy. Don't you live in the dormitory? I remember you wanted to live in the dormitory before. My family is away on a business trip, I will discuss it when he returns. Are you married, girl? Well, yes, just got married recently. Young. It's been tough today, let's finish work early. Goodbye, brother Hu. Ling Ju has been commuting for about a week, and she has basically learned about the things in the textile factory. Hu Wei is very satisfied with her and slowly gives some orders to follow. Another Monday after work, Ling Ju was almost 8 o'clock when she arrived at the family home. She also ran into many cars in the army and was wondering if her brother and Song Chi, who had been walking for almost 10 days, would be there. As a result, the car stopped in front of her. A handsome head crawled out of the window and said, "Orange, what did you do?" "Brother, you're back. Get in the car and pull you." "Okay." Ling Ju didn't refuse this time and found out that the person inside the car was indeed Song Chi. Silent to each other. "What did you do?" sweating profusely. "Brother, I found a job working in a textile factory." "What? You found a job?" The two men looked back together. "Yes, today is my 7th day. I walk to and from work." With these words, they arrived at the courtyard. Ling Yong and Ling Ju got off the car, and Song Chi went to park. Ling Yong looked at his sister. It seemed that his skin had improved after a few days, and he seemed to have lost a lot of weight. His chin was even smaller. Ling Ju followed Ling Yong back to the dormitory and said, "Brother, have you eaten yet?" "Not yet, let's go to the cafeteria later." Mei didn't refuse and made an exception to have some food with her brother today. "Okay, together." Looking at Ling Ju and not returning to Song Chi's dormitory, "Why don't you go to Song Chi's house and keep following me for what?" "You're my brother." "I'm not following you, who am I following?" "Mainly because it's too awkward, looking at Song Chi's face, I don't even know what to say. Anyway, you're also married. Your brother and I, a beautiful young man, spend all day leading girls to look for your husband. Okay, you can go find me after packing up. Well, call your husband together. Returning to her home with Song Chi, Ling Ju suddenly felt a bit reluctant to go in. It was okay when Song Chi was not around, but as soon as Song Chi returned, she felt a bit uncomfortable. The door was not tightly closed, and upon entering, I found Song Chi standing staring at the bed in a daze, with his clothes still on. I looked up at her as she came in. "Well, I think it's better for us to sleep alone first," so I separated the bed. Song Chi remained silent. "Well, my brother said we'll go eat together later." Before Song Chi could speak, Ling Ju suddenly became a bit angry. Why didn't she say a word? "Song Chi. I'm talking to you. You didn't hear me." "Well, I heard you. Have you recovered from your illness?" "Disease." "Oh, there's a slight smell of Chinese medicine in the room." "It's much better now." Song Chi actually felt a bit embarrassed. When he came back, he thought the house must be very dirty and messy, but when he opened the door and came in, he found that the beds were neatly tidied up and separated. There was also a curtain hanging in the middle of the bed, clothes hanging on the balcony, and the soap teeth and towels in the basin were all girls. He had a strange feeling in his heart, I don't know how to describe it. The room was filled with a faint smell of traditional Chinese medicine, which was not unpleasant. Song Chi got up and took off his clothes. Ling Ju was stunned. I didn't expect this man to be completely unfaithful. His wheat-colored back muscles looked powerful, and the tight waistline, coupled with the perky buttocks inside her pants, was sexy and wild. I couldn't help but think of the way the man was moving on her that day. Oh my God, what a stunning sight. I'm so greedy that I'm going to burst into tears. After taking off his shirt, Song-chi turned around and saw the little girl staring blankly at him, with her mouth slightly open, looking very silly. This girl's skin has improved a bit, there are no more bags or redness, and she seems to have lost weight. Did she say she found a job? Where do you work? Ling Ju just regained her composure. Being a man is not enough, and her rationality is not there. I secretly cursed myself for being a pervert. It's over there on Red Star Road. Oh, you're walking to work. It should be 7 or 8 kilometers, right? Well, the spirit of sports is much better. Song-chi didn't speak anymore and took a basin to take a shower. Ling Ju suddenly remembered that she was also sweating profusely, and her clothes were sticking to her body. She also took clean clothes to take a shower. After taking a shower and putting on clothes, it was obvious that the clothes were a lot loose. After taking a shower, he returned and found that Song-chi had already changed his clothes. As expected, the man took a shower very quickly. Your brother is going to the cafeteria to wait for the two of us. Give you 2 minutes and set off for the cafeteria. Put down the basin and hang the clean clothes. I casually braid my long hair into a braid, but it hasn't dried completely yet. The girl who had just taken a shower had a pink face and a faint soap smell on her body, which was very pleasant. Stop daydreaming, and the two of them went out. Walking on the road one by one, with occasional greetings or glances at the two of them, Ling Ju just wanted to quickly finish walking these few hundred meters. At the cafeteria, Ling Yong waved at them. Today Ling Yong spent a lot of money and even ordered a few stir-fry. A fried egg with pepper, a braised pork belly with brown sauce, and a plate of fried potato shreds. Ling Ju has no suitable food for weight loss. Eat less and be sure to control it. Sitting beside Ling Yong handed over a pair of chopsticks and bowls, as well as a bowl of jazi congee. Looking at the bowl of bazizi congee, Ling Ju persuaded herself not to move for 180 times. Who knows, she doesn't like it. Why not eat it? Song-chi asked. I don't like to eat this. Ling Ju, you're making fun of me. Aren't you your favorite food? Are you losing weight? But you do look like you've lost a lot of weight. Do you weigh 10 pounds? Ling Ju was stunned for a moment. The original owner should like to eat congee. About 10 pounds. In the factory, whenever I go to the workshop, I will secretly weigh it, and now it weighs 165 pounds. Come on, if you lose weight, you can be as beautiful as your brother and me. Stinky is shameless. Song-chi watched as the siblings bickered and smiled slightly, but Ling Ju didn't see it. The three of them were eating well, but they didn't expect Jing Pingping to come. Chapter 5. Can you see but can you eat? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Song-chiga, you're back. Jing Pingping returned to the same Jing Pingping, pretending to be weak and unable to take care of herself. Her mouth was so soft that she wished she could drip water. What's up? Cold, really cold. Song-chi, why don't you go find me? After speaking, Jing Pingping sat directly next to Song-chi. Song-chi instinctively glanced at Ling Ju and found that the girl seemed to be watching a play, waiting to see how he would handle it. I'm already married. Song-chi. With a coquettish and slightly angry voice, Ling Ju had to say that this girl has 2 brushes, and if she encounters a little kid, she will still be bone-chilling. Ling Yong looked at Jing Pingping, pinched his own sister, and looked at her with a smirk. He didn't even sit next to your husband when he ate. Ling Ju pinched back and didn't let go of Ling Yong's thigh, causing her expression to twitch. Wipe it so hard. Cough, cough, brother. Do you think there's a wild bird? Ling Orange smiled sarcastically. Look at the wild bird across from you. The wild bird looked at Song Chi as if it had not heard him. Song Chiwoo was eating his own food. Put a mouthful of braised pork belly in her mouth and look at Song Chi's expressionless face. Ling Ju suddenly feels that Jing Pingping is also very reluctant. Song Chi doesn't seem to like her very much. Could it be that Jing Pingping thought she was sentimental before? Jing Pingping hasn't finished yet, haven't you watched us eat? If you want to eat, go and order your own dishes. Don't stand here and hinder us, Song Chi, take a look at her. Do you know what she did? She caught a big mouse and put it in my room. You don't even know how she bullied me during your absence. Song Chi put down his bowl and looked at Ling Orange. There was a hint of doubt in that gaze. Hey, why did you open your mouth? It's just slander. I was dragged out of the house by the laxatives you gave me that day. How could you frame someone? If you don't believe me, go find sister-in-law Hongying and sister-in-law Lu Lin. They both know my situation that day. As for when did you bully me? Since I came to this courtyard, you have been bullying me. The villain first reported you and you have become addicted to playing. Jing Pingping's face turned red instantly, her mouth sobbing, and she didn't know what to say. As she looked at Song Chi's inquisitive gaze, tears welled up in her eyes. I didn't give you laxatives, I didn't. It's all you dead fat pig. Ling Orange is really fed up with her pretentious appearance and is too lazy to argue with her. Ling Yong's face turned black and he said, Jing Pingping, please keep an eye on the occasion. Your mouth is full of virtue. And if my sister hadn't gotten sick and taken a lot of medicine to gain weight when she was a child, she would have looked much better than you now. Song Chi wiped off Jing Pingping's hand and said, you go, we're going to have dinner. And I'm already married. His tone was cold, so cold that it could be broken. Jing Pingping looked aggrieved. Getting married can lead to divorce. When it comes to Song Chi's impression of Jing Pingping, it is gentle and quiet. Song Chi does not dislike her. If it were not for being forced by Ling Ju that day, perhaps they would have gotten married. He needs a gentle and lonely wife who can withstand loneliness. Although he has no feelings for her, marrying her can also save a lot of trouble. But now, things don't seem as simple as he thought. He didn't see through Jing Pingping. This woman is clever and cunning, but her intelligence is full of foolishness. After all, he has been in contact with Jing Pingping for a period of time and cannot speak too harshly, but he will never interact with her again. Married men should remember the issue of style. Song Chi said a few refusal words calmly, and Jing Pingping reluctantly left. The dishes are also a bit cold. Eat, why not? Ling Ju took another bite of braised pork belly, which was a little cold but really fragrant. Ling Yong doesn't know, it turns out that Jing Pingping is such a person. She used to think she was quite gentle and innocent, but now it seems like she's just pretending. Ling Ju was eating meat in big gulps, feeling a bit good. She was happy to see Jing Pingping feeling uncomfortable. I took my breath out for the original owner. The robbed man looked up. Unexpectedly, he had become the trophy of women's struggle. He didn't know whether to cry or laugh. The little woman opposite kept eating braised pork belly in a good mood. He also put a big piece into his mouth. He now fully understands why Ling Ju was so determined when she was forced that day. She gritted her teeth and persisted even in the pain, and her strength was really strong. Coupled with her heavy weight, she drank some alcohol and felt dizzy without resistance, but the taste was surprisingly good. Wait, what are you thinking? Jing Pingping has left, and based on the principle of not wasting, we decided to leave the CD. Get up and go back to the dormitory together. Ling Orange finished brushing her teeth and lay in bed, listening to the sound of breathing coming from the other side in the dark. Her heart was tickling. A handsome guy lying in a room, unable to see or touch, is simply tormenting. Can you see if you can eat it? Most importantly, she still wants to touch that pocket watch. Still on the table, Song-chi is confiscating it. I really want to touch it. Flipped over and couldn't sleep. How about sneaking up and touching it? Okay, sneak a touch. Carefully getting up, without wearing slippers, he walked barefoot to the ground. The moonlight provided her with a view through the window, gently touching the table and watching as Song-chi lay still in bed, his hand lightly touching the pocket watch. In an instant, a trace of energy transmitted to her body, so comfortable and comfortable. Pocket watch, you are truly a necessity in my life. Suck lightly for a few minutes before returning to bed. As she lay back, the man who was sleeping across from her opened his eyes and looked at the pocket watch on the table. And the heartless little woman had already started snoring lightly. The inhaled energy works in the body, making the skin smoother, the red bumps disappear completely, and the lips become even more rosy. Song-chi is suffering from insomnia. His mind was filled with questions, like a strand of hemp rope, all he wore on the rope were his troubles. What exactly did Jing Pingping do, and what about laxatives? Ling Yong said that Ling Ju's childhood illness caused her weight gain. What disease is it? His wife became curious. In the past few days when he went out, Ling Yong only told him a little about Ling Ju and solemnly apologized to him for his sister's trouble. However, now he is actually very interested in Ling Ju's matter. Not long after closing his eyes, Song-chi fell asleep. At 6 o'clock, when the wake-up call rang, Ling Ju crawled out of bed first. One is energetic and the other lacks sleep, but fortunately, their body is strong and healthy. Ling Ju stood up and habitually pulled open the curtain. She saw the man naked and quickly pulled it back, forgetting that he had come back. Today, a client from the south came to inspect, and she needs to perform well. After washing up and not eating, I casually drank a glass of water and prepared to go out. Aren't you eating? You're leaving so early. Song-chi, who had already washed up, asked the little woman in front of her, looking pretty good. A white shirt, black pants, black small leather shoes, long hair tied in a scorpion braid at the back of the head, looks both neat and efficient. I leave so early every day to go to the factory for dinner. I go to work at 8:30 and depart at 6:30. Walking 7 kilometers is equivalent to having oxygen on an empty stomach, and I can still have breakfast at the company. Let me see you off. Comrade Song-chi, private use of public buses is prohibited. I can still exercise while walking. Please, who wants him to give it away? Seeing a constipated face early in the morning can affect my mood, okay. After the words fell, the person left. Looking at the stubborn little woman, it was obvious that she didn't want to talk to herself. Ling Ju found herself walking faster and faster, and she didn't feel very tired anymore. Sometimes I even want to take a jog, but in order to avoid sweating a bit, it's better to walk. Today I'm going to meet an important client. I walked to the factory, put down my things, had breakfast, and ate while reading materials in the office. The customer who came today is from Yangcheng. The customer wants to purchase bedding materials from them, then process them from Yangcheng and distribute them nationwide or even for export. Ling Ju carefully looked at the bedding materials, the office door was knocked on, and Zhao Xiaomei, the director of a workshop. A middle-aged woman in her 40s, thin, very capable, and also very nice. Ling Ju had a particularly good impression of her. Director Zhao, you're here. Xiaoling, the bedding department in the first workshop has already prepared all the styles in our factory and cleaned everything inside and outside. Do you think there is anything else you need to prepare? Director Zhao, is there anyone on your end who can demonstrate the textile process? Let's show our customers. Our factory's technology is the most advanced, which can increase their interest. I'll do it. That's feasible. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the car entered the factory and was welcomed by Ling Ju, manager he from the business department, Hu Wei, and director Zhao. 4 or 5 people got off the car, among whom the slightly chubby one with a bald head and glasses was the major customer of this time, Wushan. It is said that he has 300 stalls in Yangcheng and a large processing factory. If he can sign, it will be a big deal. Entering the workshop, Ling Ju fearlessly introduced to a few people the composition of the workshop, including what products are produced, where the machines are produced, and what processes. She explained everything in detail. Go to the bedding department. A few customers, look, these 10 models are all new models launched by our factory this year. The dyeing and sewing processes are all the most advanced, the fabric is skin-friendly, and it does not deform even when washed in cold or hot water. Wushan touched his hand and nodded. Miss, can you customize it here? Sir, customization is possible, but a separate customization fee is required. We can make a pattern based on the style provided by the customer, and then proceed with production once the customer is satisfied. This is Director Zhao from our workshop. Can you ask her to show you the pattern-making style? What we provide to our customers here is the design pattern-making style. Director Zhao demonstrated the production steps from the beginning, and it only took an hour to complete the entire process. He nodded repeatedly as he watched. Hu Wei watched Ling Ju's operation with admiration in his eyes. After the end, with the consent of Director Zhao, Ling Ju gave 10 sets of samples to Wushan. After finishing lunch, we discussed the details in the office. Hu Wei followed and even brought the secretary of the big boss, Chen, to listen. Fill a few customers with tea before Ling Ju takes her seat. Miss Ling, young and intelligent. Hey, I haven't been in the industry for long and I'm still exploring. It's because Hu Wei taught me well that I can learn faster. When others praise you, just listen and don't take it seriously. Whether it's true or false, there is a purpose. Haha, this little girl can talk. Then I won't talk nonsense. Let's talk about the price and delivery time. As you know, I have 300 stalls and a factory, and the daily shipment volume is very large. I hope to have a good price. How many sets do you plan to book first? Your quality is good and the styles are novel, but I still need to process them when I take them back. Your prices are higher than those on the market, so I want to try 5,000 sets of water first. Ling Ju was taken aback. She thought 3,000 would be great, but she didn't expect to ask for 5,000. She decided to give it a try. Ling Ju glanced at Hu Wei and, as previously discussed, said, we normally ship a set of goods from the factory, including miscellaneous transportation costs. The total gross profit margin for each set is 10 points. If you sincerely want it, we can offer an additional 3 points discount, but we need to get 5,000 sets at once. Is this your biggest discount? Yes, Mr. Gu, you can consider taking a look. You don't need to rush to reply to me. Okay, let me go back and think about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Seeing off Wushan, Ling Ju breathed a sigh of relief. Just as he was about to collapse on the sofa for a while, Hu Wei arrived. Ling Ju, you're really someone in this industry. I didn't say much today, so you finished everything. Did you see Secretary Chen's expression? But I'm very satisfied. I hope I don't embarrass Brother Hu. Secretary Chen is from the person next to the big boss, and sitting there with Ling Ju still feels a bit nervous. Looking at Ling Ju's smiling face, Hu Wei was momentarily stunned. This girl looked much more beautiful than on the day of the interview and also lost a lot of weight. By the way, our factory may open a separate production line for clothing in the future, mainly for high-end home clothing. We have produced a few sets so far, and I will bring you a set to try on. Hu Wei handed the bag in his hand to Ling Orange. That's a good relationship. Ling Ju is not very confident, not sure if Wushan can get 5,000 sets at once. If so, it would really be a big order. After work, pack your things and go back. The 7-kilometer journey will take an hour and a half to complete. The weather is very hot today, and by the time I walked to the entrance of the youth league, my white shirt was already wet with sweat. When I turned my head, I saw Xing Pingping's little sisters nearby and stared at her, wondering what they were doing. I ignored it and went back directly. She is already familiar with and accustomed to the life here, and won't make her life uncontrollable just because of a man. In my previous life, I was already 28 years old and had never seen anyone, especially all kinds of scumbags. Not to mention Song Chi's handsome appearance. It is true that being handsome can attract attention, but being handsome is not enough to make a living. Having money in one's own hands is the most important thing. Like Xing Pingping, who is determined to live and die for a man, she cannot do it, at least in this lifetime. How much impact can the love brain have on others besides harming oneself? Taking a shower first upon arrival, drinking medicine after bathing, and brewing tea has become a regular routine in the evening. When Song Chi returned home, she saw standing by the window drinking medicine, her long hair hanging behind her head like a waterfall, Ling Orange wearing clean clothes, and a faint smell of traditional Chinese medicine coming from her nose. She was still taking medicine. Her skin is getting better and better, and all the red bumps on her face have disappeared. It should be that the medication has taken effect. Watching Song Chi enter the door, Ling Ju smiled and said hello. In a few days, my parents will come to visit the family reunion. Chapter 6. Big Boss appears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah, when will you come over? It will arrive in half a month. Well, good. Where do you live? Guest house. I have already booked a room in advance. Stranger-like conversation, awkward atmosphere. Song Chi went out again, standing in the corridor smoking. Remember what Ling Yong said today. Ling Ju fell ill and often had a fever when she was a child. She spent a lot of money on medication, but her health deteriorated day by day, but the reason could not be traced. The family had even started preparing for future affairs, but by chance they came across a rural doctor who came in to ask for water to drink. When they saw a patient at home, they checked the pulse and said it was a heart disease. The family didn't know what kind of heart disease a 7-year-old child could have, thinking that person was talking nonsense. The doctor wrote a prescription to keep and told the parents of the Ling family that if it's useless to take it for 3 days, they should prepare for future affairs. The parents of the Ling family are like a living horse doctor. Unexpectedly, Ling Ju has really improved, just gaining weight day by day. Even though he didn't eat much, going to the hospital for a check-up didn't yield any results. He just kept it this way, and gradually, Ling Ju is not different from other children except for gaining weight and not remembering what happened before the age of 7. After reaching adulthood, Ling Yong joined the military and also took on the expenses of his family to support his sister's high school education. Afterwards, it was Ling Ju who came to the army to visit his family. Ling Yong's parents instructed him to find a good family to marry Ling Ju or find some job to stay here. Unexpectedly, Ling Ju found a good husband and a job for herself, and Ling Yong was also shocked and surprised. Of course, he apologized to Song Chi for finding his husband, and even said that even if Song Chi wanted to divorce in the future, he was not without support. He felt that after his sister came here, she had changed and didn't look like Ling Ju from before, but that person was also Ling Ju, and he couldn't figure it out. But now he really likes Ling Ju, he jokes with him, and even loves to laugh. After smoking a cigarette and sitting for a long time thinking, it was already dark. Returning to the room, Ling Ju was already lying on the bed, and Song Chi was also back in his own bed on the other side of the curtain. After spending some time together, I found that Ling Ju is not an unreasonable person, and often he can tolerate things. His personality is very calm, which is very different from Ling Ju who strengthened himself that day. Thinking of the taste of that day, my body suddenly felt a little restless. Looking at the opposite bed through the curtain, I don't know how long this messy marriage can last. The next morning, Ling Ju arrived at the factory early and had breakfast before starting to boil water, brew tea, and work. In this era, there were no computers or mobile phones, and work not only relied on memory, but also on one's own bad handwriting. Hu Wei has reviewed the materials 7 or 8 times, and almost no need to flip through the materials to explain the parameters of each sample of goods. We also need to attend employee training later to check the time. The training will be held in the conference room on the 4th floor, which is quite large and can accommodate about 100 people. The entire factory has about 100 people. When we arrived at the 4th floor, we noticed that Hu Wei was busy and went over to help arrange the podium. "Miss Ling Ju, the boss will come over today. I haven't seen the boss since I've been here for so long." "Have you seen him, brother Hu? The boss is quite young, an authentic second-generation celebrity. My mother is in business and she looks very formal and tall, but she doesn't like to laugh. She looks quite serious. Red second generation, this background is indeed powerful. No wonder one can smell the scent of openness." The two of them chatted and brewed tea for the leader. They prepared the microphone and followed Hu Wei at the door, directing the workers to enter one after another. After all the workers sat down, Ling Ju found a vacant seat and opened her notebook. At this moment, warm applause rang out on the stage. Song Wei has entered the arena. On the chairman's podium in the conference room, there was a tall man in his 20s, dressed in a navy blue suit, with a flat head and deep facial features, giving people a shrewd and profound feeling. Sure enough, he is meticulous in his words and laughter. But why does it look so familiar? It always feels like I've seen it before. Today is an employee training meeting. After Song Wei finished speaking, he introduced the functions and personnel of each department, as well as the corporate culture of Xingxing. This factory is actually the sole enterprise of Song Wei, with no shareholders or anything like that. Ling Ju pouted, wealthy people from any era. After more than an hour of training, Ling Orange returned to the office after finishing lunch. The phone on the table has never rang. I don't know how Gu Disheng is thinking. Handle orders, go to the workshop to check production status, and go home after work. Unconsciously, 2 days have passed and Gu Disheng hasn't called yet. Ling Ju is a bit anxious. Standing up and moving around by the window, I saw a car coming in at the entrance. It was Gu Disheng's car. Immediately called for Hu Wei to come downstairs and welcome him. Hu Wei smiled and shook hands with Gu Disheng. "Boss Gu, I've been waiting for your call these past few days, but I didn't expect you to come over in person. I came today with sincerity. It's better to speak in person than to make a cold phone call. Okay, please come to the office. I'll make a pot of tea and let's sit and talk." A few people arrived at Hu Wei's office again, filled with tea, but Ling Ju didn't sit down. Gu Disheng brought 2 people with her, and there were only 2 sofas and 2 chairs in the room. She just stood there. As for me, I like to be straightforward. To be frank, it's not a problem to get 5,000 sets of goods, but you need to give me a discount of 3.5 points and send me 100 sets of samples. In advance, pay half of the payment, and the remaining payment will be made after the goods arrive. You can discuss it and we can sign the contract today. Hu Wei and Ling Ju exchanged a glance and walked out of the office to Ling Ju's room. "I'll call Secretary Chen and ask the boss for his opinion." Hu Wei took the phone and dialed it out. After a polite conversation, he went straight to the topic. About a few seconds later, Hu Wei nodded happily and said thank you. "How about it, brother Hu?" Secretary Chen said it's okay. "We have already investigated Gu Disheng before and there is no problem with doing business. We can also send an additional 100 sets of samples." "Great. Brother Hu, let me talk later. We can't make them feel like we just listened to his request easily." "No problem." Hu Wei inexplicably trusted Ling Orange. The 2 of them returned to Hu Wei's office, and the fresh tea they were taking care of had run out, while Ling Ju filled it up again. "Boss Gu, the conditions you mentioned are not a problem, but we also hope to add 2 more conditions. The price we have given you is a low price we have never offered before, and we hope you can keep it confidential. Secondly, the label you are processing needs to bear the name of Xingxing Textile Factory. If there is no problem, we can send you another 100 sets of samples. Gu Dishan glanced at Ling Ju and said, "This girl is quite clever." With the name of a star on her face, wouldn't consumers know that the goods coming out of her factory are supplied by stars? Hu Wei, however, felt that Ling Ju was extremely clever. If he had a good reputation, would he still need a big order? If in the future she sells to a cheaper supplier and the quality is uneven, it has nothing to do with her star. But this condition is not a problem. After all, there will definitely be more and more factories in the future. If the stars don't work, can we switch to another one? Comrade Xiaoling, I didn't expect to be very independent at a young age. Haha. I can agree and go draft the contract. Secretary Li, prepare the seal. Okay. Ling Ju drafted a contract based on the previous contract samples provided by Hu Wei. She carefully checked it twice and showed it to Hu Wei again. After no problems, she brought it in. The contract was made in duplicate, with fingerprints pressed and signatures stamped. After that, Gu Dishan directly took out several stacks of cash. The accountant clicked twice without any problem, a total of 25,000 yuan. It's still possible to produce 5,000 sets within 2 months. After seeing off Gu Dishan, Ling Ju went to the workshop director of a workshop to share this news. Everyone in the workshop was very happy to receive a big order, especially Hu Wei, who said he would give everyone a bonus when he received the payment. Everyone was full of fighting spirit. Hu Wei then called Secretary Chen to inform him of the good news and praised Ling Ju in a dazzling manner. Secretary Chen also repeatedly praised Hu Wei's recruitment and said that he had done a good job. After receiving the final payment, the boss promised to give him a bonus. Within a week, 800 sets have been rushed out, 200 sets of samples will be sent first, and the next batch of goods will be rushed out. Ling Ju is very busy every day, and other orders can be pushed back as soon as possible. The workshop is also brightly lit and working overtime, and there is not enough manpower. Hu Wei has recruited 20 more employees to enter the factory. Director Zhao, newcomers may not necessarily be able to perform well. We need to keep an eye on quality control and ensure that there are no defective products. Right. I'll go ask Workshop 2 to borrow someone from Zhang Jian to personally take care of it. Zhang Jian is the director of Workshop 2. After finishing her work, it was already 7 o'clock in the evening. Ling Ju quickly walked home with her bag, thinking that if it didn't work, she would move into the dormitory tomorrow. I have been busy lately, and sometimes I don't even have time to eat. However, my daily aerobic diet is still effective, and I unknowingly lost 10 pounds. Losing weight with a large base is really scary. I lost a lot of weight after weighing 20 pounds, and the elastic bands of my pants have been changed twice. First, go to the pharmacy to retrieve the medicine and then rush to the family home. On the way back to the army, there is a section full of corn fields, which is rarely inhabited. Every time there, people walk faster. The current public security is not very good, and there are still quite a few blind spots. Bad luck, there are really people ahead. The 2 men in front stood on the roadside, staring at her. Ling Ju suddenly felt a tingling sensation on her scalp and wanted to walk around. Before she could get closer, the 2 of them came over. One bald and 1 inch long, with a cigarette in his mouth and a lewd smile on his face. What are you doing? Little girl, take out all the money on your body, and the master will let you cross this path. I don't have money. You don't have money. Then you're going to have sex. Ling Ju's heart trembled. I'll give you the money. Ling Ju took out a handful of change from his pocket and handed it over. He watched them count the money and ran away. The 2 of them saw her run away and chased after her. Dear mother, although she has lost 20 pounds, she is still a chubby person weighing over 150 pounds. Can she run faster than a man? Just as their thoughts fell, the two of them chased after them. Chapter 7. Illuminated Ling Orange's dark heart in just one go. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. I don't know if she was too nervous or a bit too backed. She slipped on a small stone, sprained her foot, and fell into a gorgeous mess. Her arms and knees were scraped, and it really hurt. Angry and scared, she grabbed a handful of dirt in her hand and stood up, then threw it towards the back. The bald head, who was the first to hit her, was instantly blinded, and the inch head kicked her in the stomach. Ling Orange was caught off guard and was knocked down, hitting her head on a large stone by the roadside and bleeding. Damn it, your master and stinky women dare to throw dirt. Today, if the master doesn't rape you first and then kill you, you won't be surnamed Zheng. After that, take out a knife from your back, a pig-killing knife. Watching the knife get closer and closer to her, Ling Ju closed her eyes. 18 years later, she became a hero again, and these two people were unbeatable in both directions. Perhaps it's because the heavens are casting their curtains, and having another life is not so easy to hiccup. A car whistle sounded behind her, followed by a muffled snort. Ling Ju opened her eyes and found a military dagger inserted into her bare head's right leg, bleeding and lying on the ground. The next inch head was already holding up his hands, squatting behind her with frightened eyes. Ling Ju turned her head and met Song Chi's sharp eagle-like eyes. The tall man dressed in training clothes, like a heavenly deity descending to earth, instantly illuminated Ling Orange's dark heart. Heroes save beauty. Which woman can bear it? All the grievances and weaknesses are exposed in front of the man at this moment, tears uncontrollably falling down, as if suddenly having a support. Relax the tense nerves. The jeep stopped behind, and Ling Yong quickly got off the car, his face full of anxiety. Watching his sister bleed from the forehead and her arms and legs scraped, he cursed and went up with his military boots on his feet, giving him a flying kick. He was kicked several meters away, then turned his head to look at the dagger stuck in his bare leg lying on the ground. With one foot, he pressed the dagger deeper, and on the quiet path by the cornfield, a huge male howl came from. Spare my life, spare my life. I won't dare to do it again. Song Chi quickly pulled Ling Yong apart and squatted down to examine Ling Ju's injuries. My arms and thighs have oozed blood in several places, probably scraped, and I also scraped a large part of my forehead, with blood and flesh blurry. Fortunately, the wound is not big. Ling Yong tied the two with ropes, and Song Chi drove Ling Ju back to the army. He took Ling Ju to the doctor's place for disinfection and bandage, then reported to the police and went to Li Jigang's house. Then drive to the scene to find police officers such as Ling Yong. Upon hearing the news, Hongying took Ling Ju to her house first, and soon Lu Lin also came over. The two sister-in-law were busy, and Ling Ju felt particularly warm in her heart. When Ling Yong and Song Chi returned, they also brought two police officers to take notes. The police first shook hands with Li Jigang and briefly explained the situation. Both Song Chi and Ling Yong have unattractive expressions, one serious and the other angry. Comrade Ling Ju, could you please provide a detailed description of the situation so that I can make a record and file a case? Officer, you wiped a sweat. This is a military subordinate in the army. Who dares to cause such a big problem? And when they arrived at the scene, they found two people on the ground bound in various ways, with blue noses and swollen faces. It was obvious that they were beaten by soldiers, and they dared not say too much. They took the people away and quickly came over to take notes. Ling Ju described her situation on her way to work and suddenly remembered what the bald man had said. Bald asked me to pay, but I stumbled over a stone while he was counting the money. I grabbed a handful of dirt and threw it out. He was blinded and said he wanted to rape me first and then kill me, otherwise he wouldn't be surnamed Zheng. A few men present were momentarily stunned, surnamed Zheng. Surprisingly surnamed Zheng. Ling Yong cursed his mother and was about to go out. Li Jigang called him back immediately. Ling Yong. The matter hasn't been thoroughly investigated, don't be impulsive. Li Jigang's first impression was also related to Zheng Pingping, but the police haven't finished investigating, so it's difficult to draw a conclusion. Ling Yong didn't move any further, but those eyes were really about to burst into flames. Ling Ju tugged at Ling Yong's sleeve and said, "Brother, don't be impulsive. Am I okay now? I believe the police comrades can definitely investigate it." After completing the transcript and conducting an injury assessment, the police officer left. When Hong Ying saw Ling Ju's appearance, she was also very anxious. Ting Ting, the little girl, looked at Ling Ju's injury and remembered her mother saying that her favorite milk candy was bought by Aunt Ling. The little one ran over and grabbed Ling Ju's hand, and she exclaimed to Ling Ju, saying that after she finished breathing, it didn't hurt anymore, which moved Ling Ju deeply. Returning to his home with Song Qi, Ling Yong also followed in and saw two single beds on one left and one right. Ling Yong's face instantly looked ugly, and Ling Ju knew his brother's thoughts. "Brother, it's me who separated. It's nothing to do with Song Qi. Aren't we still cultivating our relationship?" Song Qi remained silent. "Don't go to work tomorrow. Let Song Qi take a leave for you. Although it's a skin injury, the area of the scratch is quite large. Let's take care of it at home for a few days." No, our factory has been very busy lately. Looking at my brother's fierce gaze, "Okay, I'll take a day off." Ling Yong left, and before leaving, he called Song Qi out and muttered a few words to himself. I don't know what the two men said, but Song Qi felt even more serious when he came in again. Ling Ju feels so uncomfortable on her body, she really wants to take a shower. "Can you help me fetch a basin of water, Song Qi? Do you want to wash your feet? I worked all day and when I came back, I got my clothes dirty and covered in dirt. I want to wipe myself." Song Qi remained silent and went out with a basin and towel. In a moment, a basin of hot water came in. "I'll wipe it for you." "No need, I'll do it myself." Song Qi carried himself to the corridor and closed the door tightly. Listening to the sound of wriggling towels in the room, my heart felt a bit confused. It's already past 8 o'clock today, and Ling Ju hasn't come back yet. I asked Ling Yong and the other two to go out and pick him up. Fortunately, it arrived in time, otherwise the consequences are unimaginable. First rape, then kill. Surname Zheng. If this matter really has something to do with Zheng Pingping, Ling Yong will not let Zheng Pingping go. Song Qi squinted his eyes. If Zheng Pingping really dares to do such a thing, then he really looks down on her. Ling Ju finished wiping her body and washed her feet. She accidentally hit an injury on her knee, and with a loud sound, Song Qi opened the door and walked in. "Is everything okay?" "It's okay, I accidentally bumped into my knee." Song Qi stared at his plump white feet in the basin and started to daydream. "Because I sprained my foot, my ankle is a bit swollen and red." Song Qi. After regaining his senses, Song Qi poured some water for Ling Ju and said, "Do you still need to take traditional Chinese medicine tonight?" "I didn't boil it, why don't I stop eating?" "It's too late. I'll cook it for you, you wait." Actually, Song Qi didn't know that this medicine was for regulating menstruation. He thought it was related to Ling Ju's childhood illness and couldn't delay it. "Well, thank you. A bag of medicine and 4 bowls of water. Boil for half an hour." Taking advantage of Song Qi going to the kitchen to boil medicine, he was preparing to change into clean clothes, afraid of touching the wound, so he only wore short-sleeved shorts. Carrying the medicine out, the first thing that caught his eye was Ling Ju's white and flowery skin exposed, no longer giving the greasy feeling of obesity, but a plump feeling. His elbows, knees, and forehead were wrapped in gauze, giving a sickly beauty. Song-Chi felt a surge of heat rising from below. Without any movement, he saw the girl turn around and steal to look at him. Song-Chi, thank you today. Putting the medicine on the bedside table, Song-Chi looked into Ling Ju's big eyes and calmed his mind. No need to thank you, aren't we husband and wife? Heartbroken, always an independent and self-reliant person, enjoying the feeling of being protected by men, that feeling is very good. Ling Ju felt a bit selfish, doing his own thing from beginning to end, and didn't even have a good conversation with Song-Chi, not even knowing a few members of his family. Song-Chi, I said before that I would divorce in a while, but now I regret it. I didn't take it seriously. Military marriages are not that easy to divorce. Okay. Ling Ju noticed that Song-Chi had been looking at her feet. Don't say that your feet are indeed white and chubby. The water for washing her feet cooled down, and just as she was about to wipe her feet, Song-Chi helped her wipe them first. In fact, he was afraid that she would touch the wound again. The chubby little feet were pinched in their hands, and the slippery sensation came from them. Song-Chi's hands were not obedient anymore, and he really wanted to play with these feet well, even wanting to kiss them. The suppressed desire surged up again. Ling Ju looked at the man in front of her grabbing her feet and ears, but her ears turned red. Then, with a strange expression, she quickly wiped them dry and picked up the basin before leaving. She was dumbfounded by the operation. Touching his chubby feet, I thought Song-Chi wouldn't have a foot fetish. The man in that room walked out the door, gasping for breath and dying. Looking down at his second brother, he was showing off his strength disobediently. Fortunately, it was already midnight and everyone was asleep, otherwise it would be too embarrassing. When I returned to the room, I found that Ling Ju was already asleep. Song-Chi didn't pull the curtain and changed his clothes, lying on his own bed, afraid that the little girl might have any movement at night. In a daze, I heard a babbling voice, pocket watch. Then there was no movement. Song-Chi looked at the pocket watch on her desk. She seemed to really like that watch. Chapter 8. Twins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, Ling Ju slept until she woke up naturally, and at first glance, it was only 7 o'clock. I woke up and found that Song-Chi was no longer there. I looked at the pocket watch on the table and it was still in that position. Getting out of bed and picking up the pocket watch, a trace of energy instantly injected into the body, greatly reducing the pain of the wound, and the ankle no longer hurts as much, it is healing. The injuries on my body are okay, but I'm afraid of leaving scars on my forehead. A pocket watch may be effective. After a few minutes, I put the pocket watch back in place and couldn't suck too much. It's abnormal for the wound to heal too quickly. After a simple wash and prescription, Song-Chi surprisingly walked in with breakfast. You're up, why don't you sleep a little longer? Once used to it, naturally wake up. Smelling the fragrance of medicine, Song-Chi put the breakfast he bought on the table, 2 boiled eggs, a box of millet porridge, and the eternal pickles. Don't you eat it? I have eaten it before. Oh. Go to the kitchen and get a spoon to drink congee. Song-Chi stands aside to peel the eggs. Ling Ju is a little surprised. Did the man take the wrong medicine? I'll do it myself. No response, 2 plump white eggs placed in front of me. Looking at the fair skin of the girl in front of him, Song-Chi thought of those white, plump, and white feet again. His thoughts were inexplicable, and when he thought of them, it was something deadly. Watching Ling Ju chew the white egg in her mouth, she unconsciously swallowed her saliva, and then the girl placed the egg in front of him. You can have one too, I can't eat 2. Okay. If this egg is that white little foot, hey, what are you thinking? This is an egg, not a foot. Song-Chi felt a bit abnormal and inexplicable. Watching the man's face change, Ling Ju lowered her head to look at her clothes, didn't there be any visible creases? Looking at Song-Chi again, her gaze was a bit familiar to her. That was how he looked at her in bed that day, but at that time, his eyes were still filled with helplessness and confusion. It is indeed a man in the morning, with only 50% rationality above and the other 50% below. What are you thinking? You don't have enough brain. The girl's joyful voice rang out, and Song-chi awkwardly coughed twice. He straightened his face and said, I didn't think much. He couldn't say he was thinking about his white feet. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. I really want to flirt with this innocent man, ha ha ha. Hurry up and have a meal. You're thinking about things with colors, right? Color. Yes, something yellow. How could this girl speak so shamelessly? After drinking the last mouthful of congee, the medicine was also cooked, and a big black and bitter medicine soup was wiped out, wiping the mouth. Come back early tonight and let's have a talk. The man looked at her and said, What are you talking about? Your mother will be here in a week. I don't even know where your family is from, do you think? Okay. Song-chi left, and Ling Ju got up and made a phone call to contact Hu Wei. She said she was injured by a robber last night and asked for a day off. However, Hu Wei directly asked her to take a 3-day leave, which was not acceptable. Ling Ju had to accept the reality. A period of busyness has become a habit. Suddenly, when I'm free, I don't even know what to do. I lie down, sit, stand, and drink some water. After flipping back and forth, I see that it's only 10:30 p.m. I want to wash my hair and take a shower, but I dare not touch the water. I secretly look at the wound under the gauze, but it has already healed. In my heart, I marvel at the strength of the pocket watch. It's really boring, just lie down. Unexpectedly, just as I lay down, there was a knock at the door. Who is it? Orange, your brother, me, and Officer Yu. Ling Orange quickly opened the door. Officer Yu, what are the investigation results? Give Officer Yu plenty of water. The bald head is named Xing Chang, and the inch head is named Yang Wei. Both of them have no work and just wander the streets every day. They are orphans without parents and have no criminal record. Comrade Ling Orange, last night those two people insisted that they wanted to rob you on the spot without any premeditation or knowing you, so we are temporarily detained for robbery. After completing the process of filing a lawsuit, they can be sentenced to 1 to 2 years in prison. Only 2 years at most. Yes. Ling Ju and Ling Yong exchanged a glance, and Ling Yong looked very dissatisfied. He had known he had hit those two goods harder yesterday. Officer Yu, can you help me investigate Xing Chang's family relationship again, the kind of ancestors from the 18th generation? Ling Ju didn't quite believe that this matter had nothing to do with Xing Pingping. The information currently found is orphans, but if you request, we can investigate in more detail. After explaining the situation, Officer Yu left. Ling Yong instructed Ling Ju to do a lot of things and left. Ling Ju, who was lying back in bed, pondered the whole story and instinctively believed that this must have something to do with Xing Pingping. She couldn't just wait for news from the police, that would be too slow. In distress, a sudden spiritual light flashed. Can Hu Wei do it? Local people who work in such a large factory and are responsible for recruitment must have some connections. Thinking that he couldn't lie down anymore, he got up and called Hu Wei. After explaining the whole story, Hu Wei readily agreed. Walking slowly home from the phone room, I unexpectedly met Song-chi, who was going back to deliver food on the way. I was a little happy and helped Song-chi's arm up. Unexpectedly, the man's body stiffened a bit, but he didn't open her hand. Song-chi thought about her sprained foot and reached out his arm to support her. Well, the obvious muscles are behind the shoulders, and the arms are strong and powerful. I gently pinched them with my fingers, feeling the hardness under my hands, and chuckled inwardly. Ha ha ha. When he arrived home and set the table, Song-chi opened 2 large lunch boxes. One was filled with vegetables, stewed beans and potatoes, and even a few slices of meat. The other box was full of rice. The aroma was overflowing, and my fingers were twitching. When Song-Chi picked up his chopsticks, he couldn't wait to taste a mouthful of green beans and eat them well. Pure natural. Have you eaten it? No. That's it. I'll eat with a lid. Use a spoon to separate 1/3 of the rice from the lid of the lunchbox, and push the remaining rice to Song-Chi. Song-Chi, this is our second time eating together. Song-Chi, where is your home? How many people are there? Kyoto, my parents, my brother, and my sister. You're from Kyoto. But you speak very standard, oh no accent. You're the second one. That must not be very favored. Isn't everyone saying that the second one at home is not popular? Fortunately, my brother and I are twins. Twins. Then you must look very similar. Do you have any photos? Ling Orange widened her eyes. He actually had a twin brother. There are no photos, except for their height. They don't look very similar, just a little bit. How tall are you? I can see 183 by sight. 184, it's really tall, no wonder that thing is quite big, cough cough. So you're a little taller than my brother 183. How old is your sister? 21 years old. Oh, that's 2 years older than me. What month's birthday are you? I only know you're 26 years old. New Year's Day birthday. Wow, this day is great. The whole country is celebrating. I remember it. Eat quickly, it will cool down soon. Looking at the chattering girl in front of him, Song-Chi was surprised to find himself very patient. Song-Chi, I have another question. What? Swallowing the potatoes, still wanting to ask about the pocket watch. That's your pocket watch. Did your family give you that? Do you know where to buy it? It was given to me by my mother, and I haven't asked about the specifics. Oh, okay. Do you like it? Yes, I do like it a bit. I quite like it. I looked at the girl's sparkling eyes and said, then I'll give it to you. Ling Ju was a bit surprised and put down her chopsticks to sit straight. Really? Really? This pocket watch is not only given by her mother, but also a symbol of her mother's family. But he doesn't wear it very much, afraid of losing it. Ling Ju is so happy. If I could always carry this watch, it would be so beautiful. The thought of that cool energy entering my body feels as comfortable as a certain climax. He leaned over from the table and kissed Song-Chi's face, then ran to the table, picked up the pocket watch, and carried it in his pocket. The person being kissed is a bit dumbfounded, and upon closer inspection, their ears turn red. Her lips are so soft. She was wearing white clothes, and when she looked down, she even saw the groove inside. Song-Chi's heart, which couldn't help but tease, has sprouted spring again. It's really difficult. I didn't feel much desire before, why can't I stop after having a meat meal? Chapter 9. Turns out to be a family. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After 3 days of recuperation, it was already the weekend, and Song-Chi's parents were almost there. Surprisingly, Ling Ju was not very nervous. There were only 2 situations. First, she didn't like her, and second, she still didn't like her. But what Ling Ju didn't expect was that she hadn't even seen the people of Song-Chi's parents, and those with intentions had already spread her bad name. Song-Chi has gone to the station to pick up people. She is cleaning up at home. In the next few days, her in-laws will be staying in his room with Song-Chi instead of the guest house. She and Song-Chi will go to Ling Yong's place to make do with it. I put 2 beds together, changed into new sheets and pillowcases, took a few of my own clothes, and went to Ling Yong's place. When Song-Chi's parents arrived, she was squatting on a large platform. Son, I tell you, you're going to divorce this woman tomorrow. I won't allow you to marry someone with a bad character. Shen Chun growled softly, but Ling Ju could hear it clearly. Song Qi frowned. I don't know who told his mother a lot of bad things about Ling Ju. As soon as he got out of the car, his mother began to encourage him to divorce Ling Ju. Mom, where did you hear that? Ling Ju finished squatting in the toilet and came out of the bathroom. She looked at 3 people in the hallway, a middle-aged woman in her 40s who was well-maintained and had long hair that was well-dressed. Next to her stood a short-haired girl in her 20s, pure and beautiful, with a tall figure. This should be Song Qi's sister, isn't her father here? Seeing Ling Ju coming out of the bathroom, Song Qi hesitated for a moment and introduced, Mom, this is Ling Ju. Shen Chun didn't expect the girl to be chubby and fair, looking gentle and cute, without the calculated face she had imagined. However, recalling what she had heard, she frowned and said, I don't even know how to greet my parents. It's not polite at all. Ling Ju smiled and said, I heard this lady in the bathroom. You were encouraging my husband to divorce me. How polite do you think I could be? Are you polite? Ling Ju waved her hand, but saw Song Xian chuckling beside her. Hey, can you speak? I'm an elder. Song Qi, take a look, this is the good wife you found. Shen Chun grabbed Song Qi. Song Qi didn't expect Ling Ju would directly hate his mother, but he doesn't feel disgusted. I opened the door of my dormitory and went in with my mother and sister. Shen Chun looked around and felt a little uncomfortable. Son, you said you must come to this place where birds don't poop to become a soldier. The dormitory conditions are also too poor. It's so good to return to Beijing. Mom, we're here to see my second brother and sister. Law. You've been complaining since getting off the car, are you trying to make my second brother unhappy? After saying that, Song Xian went to greet Ling Orange again. Hello sister. Law, I'm Song Xian. I heard you're 2 years younger than me. Yes, Ling Ju looked at Song Xian quite warmly. Mom, if you die of this heart, military marriage won't be as easy to divorce. Shen Chunbai glanced at Ling Ju and said, let your dad handle it for you. I can't believe it and can't leave. Ling Ju thought it was quite funny. Song Qi, since this lady doesn't like me so much, I'll leave first, so as not to disturb the eyes of the noble people of Beijing. Stop. Who do you think you are? I'll tell you to speak politely to me. Ling Ju was really angry, but a big smile appeared on her face. Madam, why do you have to be polite when you don't speak politely? Who do you think you are? Why do you have a background and want to use privileges to suppress others? I don't have any other advantages, but I'm not afraid of privileges. If you have the ability, come here. I'm barefoot and not afraid of wearing shoes. Shen Chun was really getting angry. She kept talking about you and you, but couldn't say the next word. Ling Ju looked at her expression and turned around like Song Qi before leaving. Song Qigong wanted to go out and chase after him, but Shen Chun grabbed his arm and said, don't go. I tell you, you must get divorced. Our Song family will never allow such a woman to enter. Mom, where on earth did you hear these bad words? Song Qi stared at his mother. His mother shouldn't be like this. Shen Chun remained silent, while Song Qi looked at Song Xian and said, second brother, someone wrote a letter to our family and said a lot of bad things about second sister-in-law. She said that second sister-in-law bullied men and women in the courtyard and used tricks to get married to you. Song Xian briefly described it, which roughly means that Ling Ju does not abide by women's ethics, engages in promiscuous relationships between men and women, is ugly and fat, and the people in the courtyard dislike her. But the first time Song Xian saw Ling Ju, she had an intuition that Ling Ju was not such a person. Song Qi rubbed his temples and said, Mom, do you believe all of a letter? I'll tell you, it's almost all lies inside. Shen Chun looked at her son, who had never spoken to that woman before. But it's true that she was impolite just now. I don't think she said anything wrong. Mom, it was you who was impolite first. You can't just allow the state officials to set fire and not allow the people to light the lamps. After Song Chi finished speaking, he instructed Song Xin to wait here and then went to find Ling Orange. Shen Chun watched as Song Chi turned around and walked away, extremely angry. He looked at Song Xin, who was helping Ling Ju speak, and was even more infuriated. You little girl, turn your elbow outward and don't even speak for your mother. Song Xin felt that Shen Chun was a bit unreasonable. Mom, you weren't like this before. Why did you believe everything after reading a letter? The letter even said that second sister-in-law is a black and ugly fat person. Look where second sister-in-law is black and where she is ugly, her white and red ones are almost glowing. She has a sturdy figure but doesn't look very fat, and she still has wounds on her body. You haven't been gentle with the injured. Shen Chun didn't reply and also had some doubts in his heart. But still pull a face and get angry. Song Chi went out and headed straight to Ling Yong's side, only to find that Ling Ju was actually making the bed and brewing a pot of jasmine tea. Why did you come by yourself, your family? Are you not angry, my mom? Ling Ju glanced at Song Chi, who indeed had an anxious expression on his face. At first, I was a bit angry, but I just wanted to come back. Didn't your dad come? Well, my dad is on a last-minute business trip. Song Chi, what on earth do your parents do? His mother sounds very powerful. My dad is also a soldier. My mom, she hasn't worked before. My home, you will know when I take you back later. The family situation is quite complicated. The families on his mother's side are all engaged in business, and it's difficult to explain in a word or two. Oh, how could your mother agree to let me go to your house? If you want a divorce, I can do it any time. Upon hearing her talk of divorce, Song Chi felt a bit reluctant in his heart. I don't want a divorce, don't listen to my mother's nonsense. Well, just remember it anyway. Let's go eat together, your wound hasn't completely healed yet. Although the gauze has been removed and scabs have formed, the wound is still there, and Ling Orange dare not absorb too much energy. In fact, the wound has already healed, but it is too abnormal. Are you sure your mother wants to see me? Take them to eat, I'll just make do with it at home. She didn't want to see Shen Chun yet. Okay. I'll bring you food back, don't make do with it. Song Chi left, while Ling Ju was drinking tea, wondering who was orchestrating her and whether it might be Xing Pingping, that slut again. Song Chi did bring her lunch, corn flour mantou and fried celery in potato shreds, packed in a big lunchbox. We still need to have dinner together tonight, and your brother is also going. Let's go out to the restaurant to eat. Ling Orange nodded, okay. Song Chi explained to his mother for a whole afternoon, and Shen Chun Kai half believed and half doubted, saying that it would take some time to inspect Ling Ju. If Ling Ju performs well, she will consider it again. In the evening, Ling Yong returned and the Song Chi family, along with Ling Yong and Ling Ju, went to the restaurant. A three-story restaurant that usually serves as a reception for leaders. The overall decoration is pretty good, 2 intersections away from Hongqing Road. Ling Ju was the last one to enter the private room, and unexpectedly saw the big boss of the textile factory, Song Wei, after entering. Song Wei also recognized Ling Ju. The girl's big order is still hot. Boss. Why are you here? Ling Orange exclaimed in surprise. Chapter 10. Excluding Wushan from clouds. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shen Chun glanced curiously and said, Do you know each other, boss? Song Wei smiled faintly and said, I didn't expect Comrade Xiaoling to be my younger brother and sister, still working in my factory. It's a coincidence. But is this sister injured? Well, I fell a few days ago, it's not a big deal. Song Chi glanced at Song Wei and said, When did it open? Not long, 6 months ago. After a few people sat down, Song Wei talked about Ling Ju's performance in the factory and helping the factory win a big order, which made Ling Ju feel a bit embarrassed. And Shen Chun's face was simply brilliant, from complete disbelief at the beginning to half doubt and surprise. Song Wei has been a steady person since childhood, with a suspicious personality. It's even more difficult to praise others, even his eldest son said so. That's definitely not fake. Sister-in-law, you're too amazing. Song Xin praised Ling Ju, but his eyes secretly glanced at Ling Yong. This man is so handsome and masculine, and he looks quite similar to his sister-in-law, but a bit dark. It seems that his sister-in-law is also a beautiful woman after losing weight. Ling Yong didn't expect his sister to be so powerful. He always thought that she was just a workshop worker, but he didn't expect her job to be quite impressive. He was also quite proud and had a lot of face. Ling Ju looks at Song Wei. No wonder she always feels familiar with him that day. He and Song Qi are twins. Although they are not very similar, they can definitely see that they are brothers. Their ruthlessness and indifference are exactly the same. Song Wei looks like a deeper city and is not easy to offend. During the conversation, the dishes were served, and Shen Chun didn't say anything unpleasant. Song Wei, Song Qi, and Ling Yong were chatting happily. Song Wei knew about Ling Yong, and Song Qi had told him some things about Ling Yong. This man was also impressive, otherwise he wouldn't be able to play with Song Qi. Only Ling Ju and Ling Yong are funny. I looked at Ling Ju again. Working with him, the fertilizer and water don't flow out of the field, so I can cultivate them well. Speaking of the textile factory, this factory has only recently opened, and the preparation time in the early stage is relatively long. Could you please speak up? Song Qi also felt at ease with Ling Ju. It's nice to work at his brother's place. After finishing the whole meal, only Shen Chun was the most embarrassed. Although he still maintained the kindness of his elders on the surface, he had already scolded the person who wrote the letter 1,000 times in his heart. Everyone eat more, this dish is pretty good. When we have the chance to go to Kyoto in the future, I'll treat you kids to roast duck. Shen Chun finished speaking and wiped away his sweat. Song Xin and Ling Ju both had a great time eating. Song Xin had never tried any of the dishes here, which was very suitable for her taste. Ling Ju also improved her diet and took in them crazily, especially the gobeira and di sanxian dishes. She loves these two dishes very much. Ling Ju looked at Shen Chun and didn't expect that Song Wei's words would change her impression of her. She had the right to speak up and even shouted for their divorce in the afternoon. It's really unpredictable. However, Song Xin is indeed a good girl. She looks easy to get along with and is different from her two brothers. At first glance, she doesn't have that much heart. After having a meal for over 2 hours, Song Wei returned to his residence and also brought Shen Chun and Song Xin with him. However, Song Xin said he wanted to play with his sister-in-law for 2 days before going to his elder brother's place, so Shen Chun and Song Xin went to Song Qi's place first. Today, Song Qi was still the driver, and in half an hour, 5 people returned to the family home. I gave Shen Chun hot water and some fruit. Song Qi brought clean clothes and was about to go to Ling Yong's place. Shen Chun looked at his son and didn't say a word to her, feeling a bit anxious. Second, Mom seems to have done something wrong today. What does it mean to be like? Song Chito didn't even lift his head. Mom is getting old and confused. Do you still keep that letter? Song Xin took it out of his pocket and gave it to Song Qi. Opening the letter and looking at the font on it, Song Qi immediately understood. He put the letter into his pocket and said, I'll handle this matter. Don't worry about it. But I have to say one thing, you're too aggressive this time. Don't trust others easily in the future. Song Xin also nodded in agreement, but Shen Chun remained silent. Leaving the dormitory, Song-Chi lit a cigarette and took out the letter from his pocket. He was too familiar with Zheng Pingping's handwriting, but how did Zheng Pingping know his home address? He has never told Zheng Pingping about his family's affairs, and in front of Zheng Pingping, he is a mystery. The smoke on my fingertips was burning, and the smoke was very abrupt in the dark. Those sharp eyes did not conceal the fierce force. Turn off the cigarette and go to Ling Yong's place. When Ling Yong entered, he was already asleep. After thinking for a moment, he could only knock on the door of Ling Orange's room. Ling Yong intentionally even locked his own door. Ling Ju's room only has a single bed of about 1.5 meters and has been moved to Song-Chi's dormitory. Tonight, the two of them can only make bunks on the floor. Fortunately, the floor is still relatively clean. I didn't expect that after being separated from Song-Chi for so long, we ended up sleeping together on the floor of her room. Upon hearing a knock on the door, I quickly went to open it and looked at the man at the door who looked like a door god. You don't mind sleeping on the ground, do you? Song-Chi raised his eyebrows and looked at the bunk on the ground. Don't mind. A layer of bed sheets was used as a base, and 2 thick mattresses and 2 thin blankets were placed on top, but the 2 pillows were a bit far apart. Ling Ju has already been washed, and Song-Chi also rushed to wash it. When he came back, he wore shorts and short sleeves. Ling Ju was sleeping while Song-Chi was outside. Turning off the lights, closing the curtains, the room instantly became pitch black. The two of them couldn't help but touch their bodies on the narrow floor, feeling the heat around them. Ling Orange's heart was about to jump out of her throat. Turning over, she lay on her side with her back to Song-Chi, afraid that she would be too fat to squeeze him. Moreover, the constant masculine aura came from her, and she was afraid that she couldn't hold it, so she silently sighed. Song-Chi listened to the sighs beside him, smelling the delicate fragrance of the woman, and felt very uncomfortable. Whether he could eat or not, Ling Orange would definitely not be willing if he acted recklessly. Ling Orange may have been tired, but she quickly fell asleep when she smelled the smell from the man. Song-Chi slept soundly this night, and he never expected it. When Ling Ju woke up, she found herself resting on the man's arm, with her arms around him and her legs still riding on his belly. Her small heart was pounding and she wanted to gently remove her legs, but she suddenly ran into the man's energetic second brother in the morning. A muffled moan came from above, and Ling Ju dared not move in an instant. Let her die. This is too awkward. Holding his position without moving again, Song Kiheo didn't react for a while and wanted to move lightly. However, he was grabbed by the man's leg and flipped Ling Orange, lying flat. The man leaned on her side, his deep eyes fixed on her. Ling Ju looked at her handsome face, which was only 5 centimeters away from her, and her heart was about to jump out. Men in the morning are not easy to deal with. It's too scary. Damn him, isn't this a test of people? Neither of them spoke, just staring at each other like that. Her tight body was transmitting heat, and she could even feel the hard object poking her thigh. Instinctively swallowing saliva, the man suddenly lowered his head and buried it in her neck, his lips pressed tightly against her neck, and his hot big hand caressed her chest. Ling Ju felt like she couldn't breathe anymore, and his mind was filled with the heat of the first time the two of them that day. Is it coming again? Her small mouth was caught, and her flexible tongue crawled in. The man covered her whole body, his legs opened, and his hot palms penetrated into her pajamas, caressing her, as if he was about to catch fire every time he passed by. The clothes were pushed up, and the fair and plump skin was exposed to the air. Song-Chi felt like he was going crazy. Ling Ju closed her eyes and softened into a puddle of water, unconsciously supporting the man's arms with both hands, waiting for the storm to come.